Good morning, elementary. How are you guys? Are you guys good? I just couldn't wait to get on here and show you my beautiful picture today. How do you like it? Do you love it like I do? No? What? Why? I'm showing you this beautiful picture. You can't see it? What do you mean you can't see it? But it's right in front of the camera. I'm holding it right here for you so you can see it. It's what? It's blurry? What do you mean it's blurry? I have it right in front of the camera. Cameras can see things well. What do you want me to do? You want me to move back a little bit? Are you sure that will help? Because I really just want you to see this beautiful pic. All right, I'll try it and see if you're right. Oh, you mean like this? Does that help you to see my beautiful picture now? Oh, it's one of my favorite things. For those of you that don't know, Miss Monroe loves butterflies. I love them because they're so beautiful. And I couldn't wait to show you this beautiful picture of a butterfly that I have. But what was wrong? You weren't able to see it right? Huh, interesting. So if I hold something too close to the camera, then it won't focus, or if it's too far away, it's got to change the focus to be able to find that thing that you want to focus in on, right? Well, it's the same thing for us. We've got to focus. Sometimes we've got to focus closer on our stuff or farther away, focus on the board, focus on certain things that we need to get accomplished and done. Well, it's funny because I was talking to Miss Phelan yesterday after school, and I told her, I said, this is my idea. I wanted to do this chapel lesson today about blah, 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 blah. And I was telling her all about it, but I said, but for the month of February and March, I had themes kind of for the month, but I don't really have a theme for April. Because remember, February was love month. But remember, it wasn't the kind of love. It was the good kind of love, the love that we're supposed to have, the love that God has for us that we're supposed to have for others, which is important. And then we talked about what theme kind of throughout March. Kindness, showing kindness to other people and making sure that we're, not just showing kindness to our friends here in school, but we're showing kindness at home to our family and our brothers and sisters and our moms and dads and people in our neighborhood, showing kindness to adults by writing notes or, doing things that make them feel good. And so kindness was a big theme, but I thought, we talked last week about Jesus' death and his resurrection and how wonderful that was, but what's going to be my main theme? And she's like, but you were just talking about how we focused on Jesus' death and resurrection, and you want to focus on this for today. She's like, and Miss Phelan said, why don't you make your theme on focusing for the month of April? Duh. She's so genius. Why can't I be genius like her? She sometimes makes me mad because she's so smart. But she had such a great idea, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to use Miss Phelan's brain because she's way smart, and I'm going to use what she said, and I'm going to focus on focusing for this month of April, which is where this all came in. Because when I first showed you this, there wasn't much to focus on. It was just a bunch of random colors and things. But when we really put that picture in focus, then we could see the right things. And like I said, last week we focused on Jesus' death, but we didn't just focus on his death. We talked about it a little bit because that's a very important part of our Christian history, our Christian life. But we really focused on his resurrection from the dead, and that we serve a risen Savior, someone that is there in heaven waiting for us to join him when it's the appointed time. So we really were focusing on Jesus Christ last week, and it's important to focus. We are at this point of the year where we start to lose our focus a little bit. We don't focus on the teacher as well as we used to. We don't focus on our studies as much as we used to. We don't focus on being kind maybe like we were trying to be in the month of March and in, some other moments. We're losing that focus. And I want to bring our focus back. Because before we end this school year, I want us to really have that mindset, I need to focus on my studies so I can get those good grades so that I can be ready for the next grade. I need to focus on learning my math facts. I need to focus on learning my language skills. I need to focus on being a friend. I need to focus on the Bible and Bible verses so I can grow in Christ. So I want to talk a little bit about that focus and what we should have. Well, this is a poster that a friend made a few years ago, and she said, Miss Monroe, I'm giving it to you since you love to do chapels and I love to do chapels as well. I made this poster, and if you can use it, use it. And I've used it for a few chapels. So some of you may remember this because I've done it for a few chapels, and if not, good, because you'll hear it for the first time. But if you look, I know I'm holding it far back, but I'll hold it closer. It's got some interesting words on here, but let's focus on this one. T-H-I-N-K, think. And then let's look at the top. Think before you speak. And that's what we're going to focus on today, is focusing our mouths. Are our mouths focused in the way that they should be, in the things that we say? So think before you speak. That means that before we say things out of our mouths, we're going to, let me not just blurt out. I know in third grade, we're starting to struggle with that. We're just blurting things out. And then sometimes things come out that shouldn't. And that I have to get after the students and say, you're not supposed to even be talking, for one. Second, you should never have said something like that. I didn't mean to. Right, but that's because you didn't think before you spoke, and you're not supposed to be speaking right now. So you've got to take it down and remember those rules. We've got to refocus on those things. So when we say, think before you speak, what I want you to think about is what you're saying true? That's the first part of think before you speak, okay? Is what you are saying something that is true? Sometimes we tell things that we think are true, or that we heard were true, but we don't really have that truth. And we're sharing something that maybe we heard from somebody else and we never checked the facts. I tell my students, and I've told my students, maybe fourth grade remembers this, but I'm hoping third grade remember this. I tell them all the time, don't say what you don't know. There are times that we'll repeat things, but we don't even know if it's a true statement or not. And I get after them and say, don't you dare say something that you don't know if it's true or not. Well, I heard that. That's gossip. Don't say something that you aren't sure is true. The next letter in think is H. Is what you are saying helpful? Ooh, that's a very, very good one, because we need to make sure that what comes out of our mouth is something that's helpful. Sometimes the things that come out of our mouth, oh, come on, you didn't know that answer? Oh, that was so easy. How come you didn't get that? Oh, you're just a baby sometimes. How come you don't even like to ever play the same things that we like to? Well, you're a cheater. Do you even understand? You know, this is why nobody wants to play with you, because you act like, is that really helpful to the situation? We should not let something come out of our mouth that we haven't made sure was true and that is not helpful. If it's not helping your friends or helping your teacher or helping your brother or sister or your mom, is it something that even needs to come out? Make sure what you say from your mouth is true. Make sure what comes out of your mouth is helpful to others. It encourages. You know, one of the things that I've heard in my classroom, oh man, you're so good at that. Wow, I'm going to try to get just as good as you. And they're encouraging one another. That's helpful. That's what I want to hear. Hey, you did a good job on that. That was awesome. You're so smart at that. You're really good at doing these projects. I really like the job that, when we talk like that, those are words that are helpful words that encourage our friends. What's the next letter in think? It's I, right? Ooh, that's a big word. That word says inspiring. Now, some of you younger kids might be like, what does that even mean? Inspiring. Are the words that come out of your mouth, are they inspiring? Are they teaching and helping others to learn? Are they causing others to want to be better and to want to do more? There are times where I'll hear some of you say, hey, you know what? We shouldn't probably talk like that. Miss Monroe would be really sad, or Miss Phelan would be really sad, or Mrs. Nichols, or Mrs. Gallucci, or Mrs. Colby. They would be really sad if they heard us talk like that. Let's do this instead. Hey, you know what? You're really good at that. So we're going to let you take over that part of our project. And then we're going to do this part over here. Are you inspiring somebody to want to be good and kind and helpful? There are, sometimes it's not even the things that we say, but it's the things that we might do. I heard before, teachers and parents that have said, wow, when I look at these kids and how they just treated this other student and how they treated, that inspires me to want to be a nicer person. That makes me want to be a better giver or a kinder person to somebody else. Are we inspiring people with our words, or are we tearing them down? So many times we look at other people, and instead of encouraging them and lifting them up the way God would have us to, we bring them down, make them feel not as good, not as important, not as special. We don't inspire them to want to do better. Are the words that come out of your mouth true? I don't know, but I just want to share it. Don't. Are they helpful? If they're not helping somebody to feel better or in a certain situation, if you don't know what happened at recess and you just go up to the teacher and go, well, I think that this is what I saw and I think this is what, no, if it's not helpful, don't say it. It's not necessary for it to come out of your mouth. You don't need to be speaking. If it's not inspiring somebody for better, don't speak. Are the words that come out of your mouth letter N? I love this one. This is one of my favorites. Are they necessary? Is it necessary to talk when your teacher's talking? Is it necessary to be unkind? Is it necessary to spew out awful things to your friends? If what you have to say is not something that's necessary, inspiring, helpful, or true, then guess what? Don't talk. You should be quiet and think before you just spout something out. There are times where I've heard things that came out that were not necessary, and I'll even look at that student and I'll say, was that necessary? Was that necessary for you to say that to that child at this moment? Was it necessary for you to blurt out that answer? Was that necessary for you to talk over your teacher? Was that necessary for you to be unkind to your friend? And then they had to stop, focus, and think. That wasn't necessary. I should not have done that. I need to think before I speak. If you don't say something that's true, then don't speak. If you're not going to say something that's helpful, don't do it. If you're not going to inspire somebody to want to be and do better, think before you speak. If what you have to say isn't necessary to the conversation and you're just spouting out things just to be heard, think before you speak. And then the last thing, you probably already figured it out, and some of you probably see because I keep lifting it, is K. When you think before you speak, then the last thing that we need to think about is what came out of my mouth kind? Was I kind to that other student? The way that I talked, hey, you got in front of me in line and you always, Oh, you make me so angry sometimes. You're so annoying. You need to stop being like that. Maybe it's true, but do we need to share those true things that are not helpful, not inspiring, not necessary? Because this is the thing. Maybe you look and go, well, what I said was true. Okay, maybe it was true. But was it helpful to that person? If it's not helpful, then it still shouldn't come out of your mouth. Is it inspiring them to be better? Well, maybe it'll make them think. No, maybe you should think. Is it necessary? And then is it kind? Because if it's not kind, then you need to think before you speak, because that's not how God wants us to be with one another. He wants us, like we talked about last month, to show kindness, just like he showed. He could have said, ew, gross, don't talk to me, don't come near me, I'm not helping you, you're not the one for me. No, that's never what came out of Jesus' mouth. He always spoke truth. And if it was a hurtful truth, he made sure that it would be helpful to them to learn, that it would inspire them to be better, that it was necessary in the right way. And he was always kind with his words. Boys and girls, we need to think before we speak. Are we choosing kind words? Are we being kind boys and girls? Are we focusing our mouth in the right way? Because some of us, our mouths just go and go and go, and we don't think before we speak. And at some point, we've said something that's not true that could get somebody in trouble. I know that there are things that we share that we kind of think maybe they're funny, or we think, well, if I say this, then maybe it'll get me from being in trouble and it'll make my friend get in trouble instead. So it's not really true, but at least it'll get the attention off of me, right? That's not good. It should be something that's truthful that will help. Is it helpful? If it's not helpful, then don't let those things come out of your mouth. If you can't inspire somebody, don't speak. Don't say something that's not helpful, inspiring, necessary, or kind. And so I really hope that throughout this week, from now and going through, even until the end of the school year, before you speak, think. Think about the words that are coming out of your mouth. Think about the way that you talk about your friends, whether it be to your parents, whether it be to other friends, whether it be to your teacher. Well, he's just really annoying me right now, and I can't stand him, and he did this. And is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If it doesn't meet that criteria, maybe it shouldn't come out of our mouths. So think this week before you speak. Focus on your mouth. This week, what are we focusing on? Our mouths. And we're making sure that before we say something, we make sure that it's what? T, true. H, helpful. I, inspiring. N, necessary. And K, kind. And if it's not those 5 things, just don't say anything until you can figure out the true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, kind things to say. Okay? So focus on your mouth this week and make sure that we are focusing on the right things that are helpful to others and not harmful and hurtful of others. All right, we'll find out some other things to focus on next time we have chapel. All right, have a wonderful rest of your week, guys. Think before you speak. Am I getting out of focus or way too in focus? Ooh, you can see like my pores and everything. Okay, I'm going to stop it now. Bye.